You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a successful motivational speaker and trusted life coach, Nancy knows how you can live the life you want regardless of the challenges you face. Although she's legally blind, Nancy's mission is to inspire others to overcome obstacles and live life full out. Call in at 800-333-0001 to ask Nancy for advice on topics such as relationships, finances, business, health, and more. Just call 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Welcome to the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari. Very excited to be here with you today, although our topic is one that is heavy. But we want to look at the motivational side of loss, how we can appreciate those in our life that are no longer with us, and how we can celebrate life even in those darkest of times. We're going to be also taking your calls coming up here shortly. Again, that number is 800-333-0001, 800-333-0001. Coming up in our next couple of segments, we'll have our inspirational guest, Tony Marrero. His story is not only inspiring, but really it's so relevant to where we are today. He'll be talking about being in the Orlando shooting that occurred on June 12th, 2016, and how he was one of the survivors, but yet he lost a good friend of his. And we want to hear from you. If you're touched by today's show, or if you have any questions about resources to overcome loss in your life, we want to hear from you. The best way to reach us is by email at connect@livingfullout.com. Again, connect@livingfullout.com. Also, if you have an inspirational story that you feel would be really empowering to our Living Full Out community, again, feel free to reach out to us. Let us know what has occurred in your life, what tragedy, what crisis have you encountered, and we want to know how you survived. What lessons did you learn? Again, that email is connect@livingfullout.com. Also, you can hear today's show and all of our shows by going to livingfullout.com, clicking on the radio show tab, and you can listen to the show live or any of our past shows. The recordings are waiting there for you. But going back to today's show, again, we're talking about loss. And again, loss can come in various forms. I know in my own life, I've lost people I really loved. I lost my dad maybe 4 or 5 years ago. As my community knows, I'm losing my eyesight. So again, loss can come in forms that are where you've lost something that you don't have, but then you might slowly be losing it. But either way, we're committed to keeping you empowered every day so that you can live your life full out. We're going to go to the phone lines now and chat with one of our callers. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show. Hi. Thank you. Hi, thank you for joining us. How can I help you?
Well, I just had a problem that's been going on. My friend has been actually having low self-esteem lately and putting herself down. And I've tried to help her, but nothing seems to work. And I just wanted to know how I can make her realize that how amazing she really is.
You know what? I love that you are her friend. And I think it's so great that you want to help her. A couple things you might consider doing. You want to take her somewhere where she can laugh, where she can have a good time. See, sometimes when we're depressed or we're sad, we forget what that feels like, that to laugh. We forget the butterflies in the stomach. We forget what it feels like, that sense of pride, because we're so overwhelmed by maybe we failed at something, maybe we lost someone in our life, maybe we felt like we made a mistake. There's this dark cloud over us. So you want to take her somewhere where she can be reminded of what it feels like to be living life full out in a big way. So that might be taking her to a comedy club, taking her to, having her watch one of her most favorite movies at home with some of her favorite treats, taking her to an amusement park, anything to just get her out there. Then you also want to find a way to remind her of times that she was happy. So for example, over the time that you've known her, if you know that there's certain songs that resonate with her in a positive way, you might put together a playlist or a CD, or in some cases, maybe even just have it in your car as you're driving somewhere with her, or maybe just leave her a voicemail with a song that would cheer her up. You wanna just inundate her with positive messages. Also, sometimes pictures can be very powerful. So let's say someone's down and out right now in their life, or maybe they had a breakup, or they just feel distant from people. find a picture from when they were happy. Let them see themselves happy. Sometimes we just have to be reminded of that. Are those things that you can do?
Yes, honestly. I don't know why I didn't think of those before.
Well, that's why you call Nancy. But nevertheless, the thing is you are an amazing friend. So if you do any one of those things or all of them, they're going to just give you that ammunition to give her that motivation. But the best thing you can do is be a sounding board, number one. Just always be that friend, someone she can turn to. And that's what you already do naturally.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in. And I know your friend will come around. I promise you. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
I love that he wants to be such a good friend to her and help her through this time when she's struggling, when she may be dealing with a loss in her own life. We're going to go back to the phone lines now and talk to one of our other callers. Hello. Welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi, good afternoon, Nancy.
Hi, so nice to hear your voice. How can I help you today? What's going on?
Okay, I have a question regarding relationships. So I was just wondering, is there like a right amount of being selfish in a relationship? And if so, is there a way of knowing if you're giving the right amount of care, of attention to yourself and even to your friends or family?
You know what? I like that you asked this question because I think a lot of times people walk on eggshells or they don't check in with themselves enough. It's great that you're doing that for you. Do you feel like you are selfish in relationships?
I've been told actually constantly that I was and am. So I've always wondered whether it's like a bad thing. I know it's a bad thing in like some ways, but like I've been hearing also lately that it's like it's also good to take care of yourself in that way.
Well, let me ask you a question. So give me just give me one example of something selfish that you've done. I mean, just in what way are people saying you're selfish?
Kind of like taking time for myself or like basically like if I'm at work or it's just like, oh, I'm taking time for myself. It's just like I'm going to go out there and do whatever I want. And people kind of look at you funny and it's like, well, don't you have responsibilities? Shouldn't you be kind of like taking care of that first and not yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Like sort of thing.
Okay, that gives me an idea because it would be one thing if you were like, you know, mooching off of people or there's different forms of selfishness. But what you're talking about is you know your body, your mind best, right? So sometimes you may need to take care of yourself in that way. And everybody's different. Some people are extroverts, some people are introverts, some people feed off of others around them, while other people really need that alone time to replenish themselves. So I don't think you should have to excuse yourself for that. I don't think that is selfishness. I think that is just taking care of yourself. Now, the only time that does cross boundaries is when you let somebody down. Keep in mind, integrity, our word, is number one, right? So if you say you're going to do something, then you want to follow through with it. But if you don't have a commitment that involves another person that you've already committed to, and you're just choosing to be by yourself or take some alone time, then I think that's fine. Because this is your life story. This is your life. Don't let anybody else dictate how you should act, what you should say, where you should be. Only you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And also the thing is if you ever feel like you're concerned, am I being selfish? I think it's great that you asked your friends. I've actually done that to myself for my friends as well. It's good to check in. Mm-hmm. And it's good to say, okay, you know what? Maybe I will make a change here. Or you know what? No, I feel really strong about that. Because life is meant for us to evolve and grow. You know, we just, at the end of our life, whether we live to be 100 or earlier or beyond, you know, we just want to look back and know that we did the best we could. We treated people the best we could. We want to live life without regrets. And sometimes you have to be a little selfish to do that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I'm feeling I'm feeling you process this. I'm feeling it. But I promise you this, hang in there, just be you. And you know what? You have friends. They're not kicking you to the curb. So you can't be that selfish. Yeah. Otherwise, they would not be your friends.
No.
Right?
No.
So hang in there, and thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you for having me, Nancy. Thank you for the advice.
Have a great day. So we're going to be coming up.
Thank
you. We're going to be coming up shortly with our inspirational guest for today, Tony Marrero. Again, he survived the Orlando shooting just way back there in June 12th, 2016. I can't believe it. I mean, what an amazing tragedy. But his story is inspiring, and you don't want to miss it. This is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be right back.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I'd like kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure.
Tomorrow?
Let's check with Mom. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm going to return the kayak. Let's make sure you have everything.
Yep. Can we walk home?
How about a taxi? 233 North Maple, please.
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Also, find fun activities to do like boating and biking or camping and hiking, plus much more. It's all right in your naturehood.
Best day ever.
A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Don't you wish that getting your child to eat right, move more, and spend less time in front of a screen could be as easy as pushing a button? It might not be that simple, but you do have more power than you know. And you can maximize that power with proven strategies, tips, and tools from the National Institutes of Health's We Can, or Ways to Enhance Children's Activity and Nutrition program. We Can offers all kinds of resources, including fun recipes and activities the family can do together to show you the way to live a healthier lifestyle. We're not saying it's easy. We are saying that it can be done. Take the first step today. Call 1-866-359-3226 for a free We Can Parents Handbook. And be sure to visit the We Can website at wecan.nhlbi.nih.gov for free information too. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit ignition.
And then...
And then nothing. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite. Look out! And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. A professional motivational speaker, Nancy can help you overcome obstacles and start living full out. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. My name is Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about loss. It is not a topic that is easy to talk about. We've all been through it. We've all experienced it. And it comes in different forms. Again, it could be a loss of a loved one. It could be a tragedy in your life that changed and altered the way that you viewed your future or even the world. And today I want to introduce our very inspirational guest, Tony Marrero. He was in the Orlando shooting in June 12th, 2016 at the Pulse nightclub. And we've heard about it in the news. We've read about it, but he actually experienced it and survived. So I'd very much like to introduce him to the show. Tony, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Nancy. How are you? I'm glad to be here.
Oh man, I'm so glad to be with you. And I told you this previously when I chatted with you. You are a miracle, and we're gonna get into that later. But honestly, to be with you today, I get goosebumps. Honestly, it's really amazing. But can you, we've heard about this tragedy. We were all kind of experiencing it via television for many of us, but you were actually there, and I know you lost a good friend of yours, and I want to acknowledge that, right up front here. But can you share with us how you got to that club that day and just what that was like in the evening?
Yeah, it was just in a million years you would think that you would go through something like this. It was just a regular night, and I received a text message from my friend inviting me to go with him because he had another friend that was celebrating a birthday at Paul's, and he actually texted me to go with him because it was in a gay club. He wasn't gay, so it was his first time in a gay club, so he felt like he needed me to be there, I guess, I don't know, for protection, something funny like that. Mm-hmm. And so I agreed. It was a shock for me because I usually don't frequent gay clubs because at the moment I had 2 jobs, and it was just difficult for me to just go out and have a little fun. But I agreed, and I told him, let's go. And he came to pick me up, and we arrived at Paul's like around midnight. And it was just a regular night. The vibe was amazing. It was just a lot of people having fun. It was a Latin night, so everybody was just having a great time. Like I say, you would never, it would never cross your mind that something so terrible was about to happen, at the end of the night. But it did, sadly it did. And, it hurt the community, it hurt the world, it hurt, everybody. And it is really, really tough. It's really, the process of overcoming something like this it's hard. But like I said, you could do it. You could do it. I did it. But going back on that, we were just having a good time, and right before they announced last call for the bar, we actually were walking towards the door when we started hearing the gunshots. And that's when everybody just ran back in. Because the thing about polls is that the entrance is also the exit. So there was just one way in and one way out. And when we started hearing the gunshots, everybody at first got a little bit confused because they thought it was part of the music. But when everybody realized what was going on, everybody just hit the ground. And that's the last time I saw my best friend because we landed separately. I don't know exactly where he landed. I'm guessing up to this day that he landed in, open area. I landed like in a VIP area that they had couches and all that. And, it was terrible. It was terrible. Every time that I think about it, I get goosebumps because this is something that I'm going to take. It's going to take a lot for everybody that was in that night to just completely forget about it.
Well, and you're so brave to be able to talk about it today because it's still very fresh. And And I'm just wondering, so you start to hear the gunshots, you hit the ground, you're obviously in the VIP area, and you did something instinctually. You needed to protect yourself. And what gave you signs? Because again, in life we have these signs that we need to read if we can. And you got a sign. What was that? And what made you protect yourself?
Up to this day, I really, I thank God for everything, because I don't know what came over me. Everything is going down, and you're hearing everything, unfolding, and you hear, people crying and yelling and desperate. And at that moment when I hit the ground, something came over me, and I just thought to myself, you need, whatever's going on here. And because at first I thought, we've seen it on social media, we've seen it on the news, and sometimes stuff like this happens in the club. And usually a person is out to get another person. They go in, they do what they got to do, and they leave, and they don't actually harm any other people because they're just looking for one person. But this wasn't the case, As soon as I saw bodies hitting the ground, I thought to myself, this is not one of those times, everybody here is going to die. So the thing that went through my mind was, okay, you're landed right next to the couch. You need to protect your head. And that's exactly what I did. I just lifted up the couch, and I just hit my head under the couch, and I just stood there pretending to be dead for like about 45 minutes. Because I was thinking to myself, if he hits you in the head, it's game over, If he's going to hit you anywhere else, well, at least you have a chance.
And you realized...
it was something that came over me, like, up to this day, it had to be God, Because and at a moment like that, you don't really think. At a moment like that, you just, you panic. But I was just focused on everything that was going on. And I just lay there for 45 minutes, pretending to be dead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And, that's very interesting because, we never know when any of us could encounter this situation. And I'm not saying that if anybody's in a terrorist attack of any kind, necessarily always play dead. You obviously want to run and get out if you can. But, that was such an excellent decision, split-second decision that you did. And you recognized that people were getting shot in the head. It appeared to be his goal at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
at that moment, all you could think about is surviving, because, sometimes you go on with life and you're just so focused on work and problems and different situations in life that you really take it for granted.
Well, and that's...
that night, I realized how short life can be.
Well, and that is why your story...
And then tomorrow you don't know.
And that is why your story is so special and so important. So, Tony, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but we're going to pick up on this. So everybody stay with us. First, Tony Marrero is with us telling about the time in the Orlando shooting at the Pulse nightclub. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know. wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more about Hamilton the Pug, Toast, and Keyboard Cat's amazing adoption stories. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Your perfect pet is just a click away at theshelterpetproject.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow, right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a trusted life coach, Nancy will help you overcome setbacks and embrace all life has to offer. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back. My name is Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And right now, we're joined by our inspirational guest, Tony Marrero, who is actually one of the survivors of the Orlando shooting at the Pulse nightclub, June 12th, 2016. And we're talking about loss today because obviously there were many that were lost, including one of his very best friends. So I'd like to welcome Tony back to the show.
I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you, Tony. Really, you're amazing. And I want to go back to what you were saying. You were telling us about, when the gunfire started, you had the instincts to hide, guard your head, and you put it under one of the couches to protect yourself. And you were laying there for about 45 minutes, just while everything was going on. But there was a time where you did get shot. And how did that occur?
Well, everything was going, at this point, I am, like I said, my head is under the couch, so I have very little visibility. I can't see what's going on. All I could hear was just, shots getting fired, rapidly, one after another. It was ceased for about 5 seconds. I'm guessing, the shooter was reloading, and then he went back at it again. At one point, the noise was getting closer to me, so he was actually walking the club to make sure that his victims were dead. And what I'm guessing is he noticed that I did not have blood on my shirt, and that's when he decided to shoot me 4 times in the back. So he shoots me 4 times in the back, and once again, I don't know what came over me, and I'm over there just thinking and analyzing everything that's going on. And I said to myself, just like in the movies, okay, this is what you got to do. Just try to move your feet to see if you have movement on your legs. And that's exactly what I did, because if he would have hit me and shoot me in my spinal cord, that was it. Mm-hmm. But I found out that I have, movement on my legs, and I could move my feet. So I just lay there. I was there still pretending to be dead. And that's what I did.
Now, you also got shot in the arm, though. How did that come about?
Yes, my arm, the left arm was exposed from under the couch. And he shot the person that was in front of me. He shot the person in the head, and my arm got on the way. So my arm got full blast of the shot, and my arm exploded. At this point, once again, a lot of blood is coming out of me. I'm looking at it, and I said to myself, okay, you need to calm yourself, because the more stress you get, the more blood is going to pump through your body, and you're going to lose more blood, and you don't want that. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you this, Nancy, and I'm up to this day, I don't know how in a situation like that I was able to just stay focused on surviving. This was a sign by God. He wanted me to survive that night.
Wow. And you did. And I just want to take 1 second. I know that your friend did not survive. What was his name?
His name was Luis Vielma. We used to work together at Forbidden Journey at the Harry Potter World here in Orlando and Universal Studios.
Well, I want everybody today to think of him, and we'll keep him in our hearts as we continue to talk about your story, because to talk about it keeps him in our thoughts and keeps his memory alive too. Now, share with me, if you can, as the shooter was now heading into, I believe, the bathroom area, you had an opportunity to get out. What was that experience like?
Yeah, at this point, the cops came in, and there was a shootout between him and the shooter, and I'm guessing he went, because I didn't see him. I never saw him, actually, because I was under the couch, sorry. At this point, he went to the bathroom area, and that's when I made eye contact with one cop that was at the door. He started yelling at people, if you are okay, if you are alive, raise your hand. So that I did, and I just locked eyes with him, and I told him, please save me. The thing is that the cop that was standing at the door, he didn't have any protective gear. He was just there for protection or to save, people close to the door. So he tells me, I cannot reach out to you. You need to come to me. And I told him, listen, I've been shot in the back. My arm is completely shattered, and I can't really move. And he told me, I know you can do it. Just find the strength and just get to me right now. So I took a chance, and I just, I dragged myself, with the little energy that I had. I dragged myself all the way to him, and there was glass everywhere. My arm got even more, destroyed than what it was when I got shot.
Well,
but I made it to him, and he just dragged me out of there. He dragged me to the other side of the street.
It's interesting. Before we leave the area of the club, you had seen the shooter earlier in the night. How do you square that circle? What is your relationship with that shooter, from actually standing beside him as a patron beginning the night to experiencing what he did, all that terror?
It was very shocking. I didn't find out about who he was till I was actually able and allowed to see the news, because my friends and family, they didn't want me to see the news for obvious reasons. And I recognized his face. Hours earlier, I was standing at the bar with my friend, and he was there ordering a drink. And to think, and it's very sad and it's very disturbing to think. The only thing that goes through my head is how much evil and how sad can a person be to wake up one morning and decide, I'm going to take people's lives. That is just the saddest thing that I could ever think of.
Mm-hmm. So your relationship to him is you feel sad for him. You had sorrow for him.
My relationship with him, people ask me this, like how somebody asked me a question, not too long ago, if I would be able to say something to the shooter, what would I say? And my answer has always been the same, because the only thing that I could tell him is, I feel so sorry for you. Mm-hmm. Whatever it was that you were going through that led you, up to that point, I feel sorry for you. You got to be lonely. You got to be sad. You must not have friends or family that love you and support you. And that is the saddest thing a human being could go through, going through life without love and support and happiness.
Right.
And that is very sad. And that's the relationship I have for him. I feel sorry for him.
Well, and it's interesting how an event like this does bring people and in the Orlando community and the world together. I want to transition briefly because this interview is going fast, but where are you today with your injuries? I mean, obviously you were shot 4 times in the back, your arm was shattered. How much of you is healed today physically?
Well, physically, I'm not 100% healed physically completely yet. My arm, the injuries in my arm, there were 5 different holes at the time when they cleaned the arm, and I looked at it. There was 5 different holes deep enough to see bone. Luckily, those bones were not shattered. It was just skin. The skin already healed. The scars are going to be there forever with me, and every time I look at them, it's just, I only focus on the positive, and these scars, mean that I survived, and that's good enough for me. But the arm itself, I still have 3 fingers that feel numb because the nerves are still reconnecting, and they take forever. The nerve system is a very tricky system, and they take a while. But I have movement on my arm, which I thank God for that,
And how about your back?
My back has been giving me trouble. I had surgery like 2 weeks ago because the doctor said that my body decided to heal a little bit too well. So the muscle outgrew the skin. So I had a piece of muscle sticking out of my back, and it was very painful. So they decided to make surgery and just cut it off.
Oh, jeez.
They cut it off, but then it grew back again.
Oh,
but
man.
Right now they're using silver nitrate, and they're trying to, reduce the muscle, and it's working, but it's a very slow process, and, it's getting there, and it's going to get there. I'm very positive that it's going to get there, and I'm going to be able to just continue inspiring people, with my story, and I'm going to be able to just get back to my normal life, which is what I want.
Well, and that you will, Tony. I mean, I could talk to you for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. I mean, not about this, but just about life. You are positive. And, as we kind of end out this interview here, I just want to, again, thank you so much for sharing with us about that night. And, you're a light. You are one of those survivors. And to go on and talk about that night and keep Lewis in your memory, and just really appreciate you being on the show. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. The only thing I want to say to people is take me as an example. And whatever it is that you're going through life, you can go through it and you will rise above. Anything that's going on in your life. Use me as an example. Life is too short. Don't take it for granted. Tell everybody that you love them, because you never know when's the last time you're going to see them.
Those are great.
That's what I want people to take out of this.
No, I those are great words, honestly, and I feel those. I feel those through the airwaves here. You are 100% right. So thank you so much, Tony, for being on the show today, and we'll be thinking of you as you continue to recover.
Nancy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
What an amazing story. And, we never know when we're all going to be in that circumstance. So we can just all learn from Tony about how to protect ourselves, how to be prepared, how to get through it, how to survive. And that is what life is about, surviving, but also celebrating what life has to offer. When we come back, we're going to be taking your calls. Again, that was Tony Marrero sharing his very intimate story about the Orlando shooting. We'll be right back after this break.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The following message is about Medicaid and CHIP, free or low-cost health coverage for kids and teens. Enrollment is open year-round.
Hey, voice lady, give me the mic.
Okay.
Hey, DJ, let's switch up the music. That's better. So listen up, moms and dads out there. There are these programs called Medicaid and CHIP. They offer free or low-cost health coverage for kids. Things like doctor and dentist visits, prescriptions, and shots are covered. All the stuff that keeps kids like me healthy and in charge.
So, as you can tell, a covered kid is a confident kid. And it means confident parents, too. To learn more about affordable health coverage for your family, visit healthcare.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. That's 1-877-543-7669.
Yep, you could do something big for your family today because enrollment is open year-round.
This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And Sophia.
They're gonna jump out of trees. You can't stop them. They'll go down the slide head first. They'll make parachutes out of sheets. They'll balance on things that are impossible to balance on, like the back of a couch or a windowsill or a scooter seat. They'll run with sharp objects. They'll run into walls. They'll climb things that won't hold their weight. They'll put their fingers in places where they could get smashed. They'll drive their tricycles down steep hills. They'll bounce balls off their faces. They'll step on each other. They'll jump on each other. They'll invent whole new ways to put themselves in jeopardy. But one of the most dangerous things kids will do happens while they're sitting perfectly still. Kids who ride in a car without a booster seat are much more likely to suffer serious or fatal injury during a crash than kids in boosters. But amazingly, 80% of all kids who need them aren't in them. After a toddler seat and until they're 4'9", booster kids, and don't let them down.
Go to boosterseat.gov to learn more about the importance of boosters. A message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hey, Nick Cannon here. So we all know we've got a lot of talent in America, but unfortunately there's something else we've got way too much of. Childhood hunger. 17 million kids struggle with it in this country. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gather surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
We're your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet. Enroll, we say, we want you to be okay. Enroll, we say, take care, people, for goodness take.
Health insurance is now affordable and covers prescriptions, hospitalizations, and preventive care. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn more.
And take care, people.
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
When we experience loss in life, we have the choice to let that desperation, let that sadness pull us down, or to celebrate the memory of the people in our life and what we achieve and what we overcome in life. You want to go over the feelings of loss. You want to go beyond them and really live your life full out. Loss is just an experience of life. It does not mean that it dictates your future. You can live full out each and every day.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a certified life coach, Nancy can help you to overcome challenges and start living full out. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Thank you again for joining us. This is the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari, and today we've been talking about loss, and we've had an amazing interview by Tony Marrero. You want to go back and listen to that. It was just really touched me, and I'm going to be thinking of him and his friend that was lost all throughout the day. And we're taking your calls, and we've had really amazing callers looking to get past loss in their life and how they can live full out. In fact, we're going to go back to one of our callers now. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi, this is Carolina.
Hi, thank you for calling. What's going on today?
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Well, my question's about my most recent relationship that ended around last December. We ended up on a bad note because he cheated on me, and so now I feel like I can't help but keep tabs on him and keep lurking him on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And I constantly catch myself doing that, or going on his Instagram or his Facebook or any social media to see what he's up to. And I'd like to tell myself I don't care, but I just want to know how I can stray away from doing this.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you do this because you secretly miss him and you want to see who he's dating and who he's with, or do you do it in a kind of a spiteful way, but you just want to see maybe that he's not doing so good, that he's single, he's lonely?
I think the second one more than the first one, definitely.
Okay.
Only because I'm just naturally spiteful.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to do that anymore. I want to try not to do that and do my own thing, but it's so hard for me not to just go back and see what he's up to, and I guess he's dating or whatever.
Well, first of all, I've been cheated on as well, so I understand, and it is the most hurtful and really awkward feeling because you believed that person loved you and you trusted them, and so I can understand the emotions and the desire to be curious. However,
right.
In that he did cheat on you truly meant that he didn't have your best interests at heart. So let's assume that, you want to maybe get back at him. Do you think it's a better way to get back at him by going on and having a successful relationship and forgetting about him like he doesn't even exist? Or do you think the best revenge is to stalk him and be really into watching his every move?
I think I need to just move on.
Mm-hmm.
With my own life.
And you're right, it is easier said than done, but think about it this way. Think about in your mind and in your heart, both of them, the amount of real estate that he is taking up is way more than he deserves. Okay?
Yeah.
So all that time that you're looking at what he's doing, you're taking time away from meeting someone else or spending quality time with people who do love you. You know, all the songs that come out that you give him for whatever reason, because he's still in that space of real estate in your mind and in your heart, you want to save those songs and give them to someone else. Of course, unless they're a breakup song and they're empowering, and then it's good to give it to him. But do you see what I'm saying?
Totally,
You're actually hurting yourself by putting so much focus on him. And let's talk about who you do want. What do you want in a partner? Forget about him. Now that you've experienced him, what do you want now?
I want the exact opposite of what I had. Now that I come to see it, that I need someone that's going to be there for me as much as they can, and I need someone that's going to respect me and, show me that.
So you want to hold the space for that person. Again, if you give all your mental, emotional real estate to that guy, then you're not holding the space for the next guy, the right guy to come in.
Yeah.
And I think it's okay to grieve. I actually think that you should play a bunch of the songs that you two had together. Play 10 in a row. Really get a good cry out, right? So look at the pictures, do all that. But then you got to package it away. You got to grieve it, and then you got to let it go. And really let it go, because that new love, he's waiting for you, but he knows that he can't step into your life until you clear this up.
Right.
Life is funny like that. Life will only give you what you can handle. But you got to show life that you can handle a new relationship, that you're really ready to let this one go.
Yeah. That's great.
You know what I mean? So I would personally, I would get dressed up tonight. I would go out with love in your heart and just excitement for the future. It's good that he's out of your life. Better now than later.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly
right? Awesome.
Yeah, you're totally right. Thank you so much, Nancy.
Oh, you're welcome. Have a great rest of your day and go do something fun.
I will.
Okay. Thank you. Bye. Thank you. Thank you. So really, what a wonderful show today to everybody who called in. Thank you so much, as well to our Living Full Out team here. We got Rich and Mindy and Debbie and Sam and Austin, and oh my gosh, I could go on and on naming different people who put this show together. But most of all, we want to thank the audience for being a part of the show, and our inspirational guest, Tony Marrero. You want to go back and catch his story about the Orlando shooting. It's very inspiring. And we look forward to seeing you next week. And most of all, don't let loss hold you back. You can step forward into the future with, again, love in your heart. Celebrate life. Don't forget those we've lost. Take them with you. Take them with you every day. But most of all, I believe in you. Here's to you living your life full out.